in this world where we have K through 12 guidelines, we have hip-hop schools. We already do have hip-hop schools. Actually, the High School for Recording Arts in St. Paul, Minnesota, I think celebrated 25 years. Yes. We have Rock Nation Academy, right? Rock Nation School of Music. And we have the first BS in R&B and hip hop at Loyola University in New Orleans. We have a hip hop BA at the Peabody School down in Baltimore. And so we are seeing the normalization of hip hop education. And when we enter the space of higher education, we're seeing hip hop studies being developed from a student level. I wish A.D. Carson would have been here because he got his Ph.D. by submitting a whole music album. That's how he got his Ph.D. and now he's a hip hop studies professor at the University of Virginia. Yes. These two scholars here are some of my favorite people who have also just contributed to this hip-hop canon in so many amazing ways. I'll let them introduce themselves, so I'm gonna just hand the mic first to Dr. Khalid, el-Hakim, and then Kashema to introduce themselves. Go ahead, you.
Peace, how's everybody doing? I'm very honored to be, oh, Brother Paradise. I'm so honored to be here with you all today. As a teacher, former middle school teacher in the Detroit Public Schools, but I'm reminded of being a part of hip-hop culture and being a fan of hip-hop in a very deep way. And as I've done this work over the years, coming across my favorite artists, X-Clan, Public Enemy, you know, and I mean, to not only have crossed paths with some of these individuals, but have actually have had intimate relationships with these brothers now doing this work has been amazing. So having Paradise, and we become friends because we're collectors, we're curators of the culture, all right. We're gatekeepers of the culture. This is our lives, right? And through Paradise, I met Pete Nice. All right, and back in 2003, I met Professor Griff of Public Enemy. And from 2003 all the way up until today, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum this year is celebrating 30 years of work. All right. And coming home from the Million Man March, this year is the 30th anniversary of the Million Man March. All right, and coming home from the Million Man March, prior to the Million Man March, the day before the Million Man March, this was just a private collection. These are things that just affirm me as a black man in America, all right? But coming home from the Million Man March, and Minister Farrakhan pretty much giving us our walking orders, right? Telling us go back and join some type of organization. Go back and make a difference. At 25, I didn't know what I could do to make a difference in my community. I was just getting into teaching at the time. But this small collection of artifacts, I went back to Detroit, I connected with some grassroots organizations and just came in and just set up literally an exhibit the size that I have here right now with some brothers in Detroit. And when people saw just those few artifacts on display, they saw value in that. And they saw that it needed to grow and it needed more spaces. So I started traveling around the city of Detroit the first 10 years, just traveling around doing public exhibits. And then it just grew from there and just took off. But I don't want to focus too much on that right now today, but I want to give us really an opportunity to look at some practical ways of how we can use this work, especially as educators on a daily basis. And so what I want to do is start off in thinking about artifacts and the historical memory that these artifacts hold. And so what I want you all to do is think about your very first experience going to a hip hop concert and one artifact that you took away from that concert. It could be a t-shirt, it could be a ticket stub, it could be a photograph, it could be an autograph, whatever that might be. I want you all to think about that and let me know just real quick as we go around what you all have in your your personal archives right now that represents hip hop culture. So let's go around real quick and do that.
Albums and flyers, performances, merch from the show. Yeah.
That's what's up. All right, right here.
Yeah. Merchandise, music, and all that, but experiences, emotional memories.
Right. All right.
Media passes.
Media passes, great.
Merchandise.
Merchants. Okay.
Merchandise, that's my thing. I want to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
My first sound set.
Nice. All right.
I'm saying merchandise.
Merchandise. All right.
Word of magazine.
All right.
Music, collection of magazines, as well as flyers that are advertised for the show.
All right.
Photos. I got to his first concert.
What concert was that?
I took him to the speaker in Midtown.
Ah. All right. That's
He
what's
was
up.
in middle school. He wore a t-shirt the next day. So the first day of school was like under the influence of music. And I was like, why did you buy him that shirt for school? And like, he's cool. It's cool.
All right.
You know you can't have that.
Of course.
I would say like one of my rhyme books, you know.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you this. Where did you get your first cane from? How about that?
The first thing came from an antique store.
Nice. All
And
right.
then the other ones that I got confiscated because they had a knife there.
Right.
It's a whole other story, but yeah, I lost a lot of canes. I got my house.
He got arrested at the airport.
Yeah.
I had a summer house. I had all my gold records and canes in the summer house. Some like meth ring, like robbed all the house in my neighborhood. They must have thought the records were made of gold. You know, they were. So those disappeared. I've never seen them on eBay, but I had a fan contact me on my birthday one year. He had called up RIAA and made replicas of all my gold records.
That's what's up.
And this guy was a collector who, he happened to be obsessed with our group. He broke up with his girlfriend. His girlfriend destroyed and burned his entire third base collection.
Oh.
To this day, we've been friends.
Right.
Like, we're weirdos. You know, like, it's just this whole nerd, segment of hip hop. And this guy, he could,
Yeah, Paradise, what's yours, bro?
So for me,
Yes, sir.
so we want my favorite,
Yes, sir.
the favorite things in my whole entire collection may be something that me and Pete just rescued last month. The 1984 NAACP Image Award for Film of the Year presented to Harry Belafonte for Beat Street. What happens to a lot of memorabilia is stolen, fire, flood, ex-wife sells all your stuff. And that happened to Harry Belafonte, unfortunately. That his ex-wife sold off all. We were able to rescue a lot of things between Dr. Khalid, me and Pete, and Gina Belafonte. And next year we're gonna come together and do an exhibit of Mr. B for his 100th anniversary.
All right. Next person. Thank you, Paradise.
Pictures.
Pictures,
And
huh?
ticket stuff.
Nice.
I would say merchandise, my old headphones, and some beat up shoes I used to dance in.
All right. Thank you.
Pictures, videos, experiences.
Good.
Merch, wristband, autographs.
I'd say like the interactions, trying to like talk to them as well when you're around up here. Merch, autographs, photos, videos with them, and merch as well.
All right. Yeah, do more.
Do more.
That would be my baby Newmar mixer
That's what's up.
and my DSR turntable.
All right.
Uh-oh. That sounds like DJ Frank. Was that right?
Yes.
Yeah, merch, selfies, videos.
Okay.
Merch, selfies, and so it's a wristband, yeah.
Wristband.
So wristband, just open, make sure that they get all. Yeah.
We're going to go back.
Just to give her a shout out, she's one of the original DJs for the Mercedes ladies in the house, y'all.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Legend.
My parents were booking agents, like music distributing a lot of like funkadelic, big shows. Like Aaliyah, I remember meeting Aaliyah for the first time, and bringing them to Japan. So we got just tons of like old visa applications, contracts, handwritten letters, just like that. So I kind of experienced the concert before the concert.
Right. That's amazing.
I guess I am kind of the same way. My mother was a caterer, so as a child, I was behind the scenes with all the artists, the old pictures, signatures, her included pictures, so just photo albums of artists and behind the scenes has been my biggest memory and inspiration.
It's funny, I guess all three of us can relate. I'm the general manager at my college radio station. So I planned the yearly concert. This year we brought in Cash Cobain. So we got the signed shirt from him. We like the experiences, talking to the booking agent.
All right, we're gonna go back to that back row. Brother Eli.
Well, okay, it's kind of unfair for me, but as a DJ, I remember Russell Simmons and Curtis Blow coming to the club at the beginning of what hip-hop was, what was called hip-hop. And then getting the first copy of King Tim the Third and thinking it was nothing but a prison blues. After getting Curtis Blow Christmas rap and you should know game, and then starting to see the battle of the how it's about the crowd.
Love it.
I would just say it's the version.
Yeah, I have a flyer and ticket stub from the first beatbox show I ever went to, and I have a foam football from the Wu-Tang barbecue.
Nice.
My other is Lil Uzi Vert autograph signature. I was doing security for his concert one year, and the fan asked me to take his poster and give it to Uzi. So I handed it to Uzi, and he just threw it down on the floor. The fan just out there in the crowd, like, and he just forget about it. He was like, man, they just wouldn't give it to him. But after everything closed, I was like, went up there and kind of got it. I was like, yeah, I just put this up on the wall. And man, it's just definitely the bracelets. I wasn't looking at like most of y'all. Y'all was like in the mega. Y'all going to go see everybody and like they crying and stuff. Like one of my first concerts was a don't get mad. It was a Sexy Red concert.
Well, you had a good memory, you know.
All right. That's great. So all these artifacts carry historical memory, right? When I thought about my very first hip-hop experience concert, this ticket stub came to mind. This is 1988, Public Enemy, EPMD, Eazy, NWA. This is at the Joe Louis Arena. Ended up being Ice-T some years later. That's Ice-T's signature on the top of it. And Martha just reminded me that our time is kind of short. But since Martha did not give her historical object, I'm going to give it to her and watch her response. All right? All right. Because she's the hardest working woman in hip hop right now. When you say, let's give her love. All right, Martha, I gotta give you a donation. Can I give you a donation? But you have to give your historical review of this, all right, and the memory that it brings up to you.
Is this the Belafonte? Oh my God! So we honored Happy Belafonte during one of our film festivals, the second annual one. And I can't believe you got this. Wow. And it's crazy because there was a typo.
I saw that.
There was a typo
They spelled his name wrong.
And actually, I think there were two. Because we had this, and so I don't know, there might be two. Because we were like, we're gonna fix it, we're gonna fix it. But this is the award we would give at our hip hop, the first hip hop film festival in the world. We created it. Black Bob was with me too. He worked on it too. And so we gave all of our pioneers an award. And so when Mr. Belafonte died, Mr. B died, there was a sale of some of his items in the estate. And I saw it. I was like, oh my God, somebody took it. It was you.
Yeah. So that goes over there.
Yes.
Yeah. But the handout that you all received is one of the strategies that I use to do to analyze hip hop artifacts, or just artifacts, period. That second sheet, that handwritten, those lyrics, those are from Proof of D12, who I managed for many years, and that's his work. And I would, if we had time, I would break all this down. But you all quickly are familiar with Joe Clark, and who he is. What Proof did with these lyrics are amazing. If you look at and think about the scene of the movie when he's on the roof with the young man and he's telling him to jump, right? What Proof did was he wrote these lyrics. If you look at the first letter of each line all the way down, Joe Clark told him, "You smoke crack, don't you?" Look what he wrote down. All right. So, but this is hip hop's genius. We want to meet our students where they are. So imagine taking something like this into a classroom to engage our students, right? And but these steps, if you follow these steps, this is a strategy that you can use with any artifact in order to engage our young people. All right, but I want to pass the mic.
Oh, we're gonna intro and then present. You might as well just finish presenting.
Yeah, finish.
Yeah.
You want to finish going through the
go
slides
through it.
real quick?
Well, what I'll do is I'll share one more, a couple more artifacts. So, Proof. This is a photograph of D12. Of course, you have M in front, Proof in the back. Proof was a hilarious person, all right? So when I was teaching middle school, one day, Proof, the night before, he was at an award ceremony in LA, and I asked him to come to my classroom. He took a red eye from LA to Detroit. 7 o'clock in the morning, he comes into my classroom before my students get there, and this is the type of guy he was. He came in and got under my desk. I took attendance. When I was done, he pops up. This is the type of guy he was. And my students, just saw him the night before on this award show with M. They were blown away, right? But hip hop at its best, we set up an environment for our students to be wild, to be engaged. And that's an experience that they'll never forget, right? But on top of that, these types of artifacts to inspire them. And this is just the process here. But I want to share this last piece with you all real quick. This last piece. This letter here is from 1959. You can't see it, but I'll explain it to you. What makes this letter so amazing is that it's signed by Harry Belafonte, Jackie Robinson, Sidney Poitier. 1959. These men come together under a program organization called the African American Students Foundation, and you all will get the significance of this in a moment. Imagine these men believing so much in education and investment in education that they invest their money, their time, their celebrity status to bring students from Africa to America in 1959. The first year they bring 81 students, all right? The subsequent years of 59 to 63, they bring hundreds of students. One of those students who came over went to the University of Hawaii, studied economics. While he's on campus, he meets a young lady. They fall in love, they get married. A year or two later, they have a child. That child's name is what? All right. Not too many letters like this exist. One of the rewards of doing research is that you have an object like this. And I always say that these archives that we have are living archives. When I first got this letter 20 years ago, it did not have the same meaning that it had once Barack Obama left office. And I was in grad school looking at my archive through the lens of a researcher. And this is the information I came up with just doing research as a researcher. I was able to find this information and was able to educate people on it. And I mean, there's not too many people who knew this information about Barack Obama. All right? Yeah, so, but I just wanted to share that with you all, and we can move on.
Yes.
Yeah. Here you go, sis.
As the slides are coming up, hello, good afternoon, and peace to everyone. I am Dr. Kashema Hutchinson, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, representing for the borough all day, every day. Yeah. And next slide, please. So as an educator, it spans from jails, New York Public Library, Brooklyn Public Library, where else I'll be? Middle school, and like Brownsville, East New York to the death of me, 11207, and higher education. And I also do early college, so high school students going into college. And so that's 20 years of being an educator. Black don't crack, so I'm young in the face, but I got that age on me. Next slide, please. And so 2010, 2012, whenever Nicki Minaj dropped, no, go back. No, keep going. You know what, leave it to the first slide, the first infographic slide. Yeah, okay, so Nicki Minaj dropped Moments for Life, and I had a website, and I was just like, infographics was like the thing, and I was like, I wanna have a visual representation of this, because I'm multimodal. I see and I hear things, and so, and I wanna have a visual representation, and so I created this an infographic, and my friends were like, great, now what do you do with it? And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to do something with it? And I started to hear and pick up things from hip hop and started to create. And so we were talking about like hip hop with like STEM and where we're going with this, because it's usually limited to like just to creative spaces. But the way I hear and see things, I was like, nah, it's much more than this to bring into the classroom. And so the Jay-Z infographic is one where, you know, when my students like, yo, miss, we not good at math, I was like, yes, you are, let's talk about it. And so we are doing simple math, we're looking at timelines, we're looking at social phenomena, and then with the one with Machiavelli is a Tupac versus Machiavelli, it's a comparative analysis and the genius of what we see in the community. So, you know, highlighting that in this infographic, next slide. And so I'm keep doing that. So that's the first infographic with the Nicki Minaj. And then the one in the middle, shout out to Dice, because I did for the Hip Hop Museum, I did the frequencies of the last post when they had their 50th anniversary of their first album. I was requested to create a infographic. And so I created with the frequencies of the times that they were sampled, right? And just to show the significance of the group. And of course, they were more significant in the 90s. And then the last infographic is Meek against the world views. And so for this infographic, I was getting my Ph.D. and I hated the program. Everybody's like, oh, a black woman getting her Ph.D. I was like, I'm getting hazed, fam. I'm getting hazed from all directions. And so, you know, me being, next slide, please. Me being who I am, you know, you just put on some Tupac and it gets busy. So I'm listening to R&B actually, but I'm listening to, reading something about Maslow, and in my head I said, there's levels to this. So I know someone in the last presentation was like, there's levels to this. And I was like, wait a minute. So I went to the actual song and I started to listen to it. It was more on Capital by Bourdieu. And so I went to the classic Meek Mill, which was Dreams and Nightmares. And so when I started to listen to Dreams and Nightmares, I was like, oh, shorty got it. Bet, say less. did what I had to do, whatever stupid paper I had to write, flipped it, and went back, and I was just like, Meek's the battle rapper. He's saying what Maslow's saying. What about Bourdieu, right? Because I hated Bourdieu. In academia, in urban education, I know y'all was talking about unlearning. I call it undoing Dewey, because when you read Dewey's work, it's so violent and it's so the implicit biases that's in the work, you actually absorb it as an educator and then you replicate it. And a lot of people don't realize they're doing it. And so I had to undo Dewey and every other thing that they gave to me. And so I went to Bourdieu, found out his story, found out his, what he did, and I was like, Meek is going against these dudes. So if you look at it, I was intentional in highlighting certain things. One, what block they on. Two, their education. So Meek just got a GED. The other two got masters in psychology, sociology, and anthropology. Meek is the only one with a criminal record, right? And they have their theories, right? Meek has dream chasing, Maslow has a hierarchy of needs, and Bourdieu has forms of capital. I was like, all right, bet. What's their age? 25, 35, 28. Meek is still beating them out. And then who's their audience? And of course, it's young Black America, hip hop fans, criminal justice reform, psychology. For the other two is psychologists and all that good stuff. Next slide, please. So this is what it looks like. When we start to go through these levels, right, because there's levels to this, Meek is saying the same thing. So physiological is air, food, water, sex, homeostasis, excretion. And Meek said, because my mama need that milk, that bill money, and my son need that milk. He got it. Go all the way straight up to self-actualization. Meek was like, I used to pray for time like this to rhyme like this. Y'all know the rest. And the part about it was that if Meek got it, what does it look like? And so my favorite, or my introduction to Meek was Dream Chasers 2 album. So if you think about that album, there's actually like smoke going around his head, and you see it. So what I did was I put motivation on both him and Maslow's head, so to replicate that album. But this is actually an homage to Tupac, because I took all the graphic and text of Me Against the World, and I applied it. So if you go back and you look at that album, Tupac is leaning on a warm black shirt, and in the last slide, Meek is leaning against the wall in a black shirt. The text is the same color. The font is the text and the font is the same color. Text and font is the same thing. My fault. Trying to be respectful of time. Next slide, please. So me and this goon, AKA Bourdieu, I realized that something was missing. And so I went to Taro Yasso, who's a critical race theorist, who was just like, there's more to capital than Bourdieu was explaining. And not only that, but we have what is missing that he's not explaining. So Taro Yasso has a thing called community cultural wealth. And so these are additional capitals that exist in our communities. And so I was just like, well, does Meek have it? Of course he does. And so what I did was, with all the capitals, I used the coins, and I just put the definition on top, the type of capital, and then Meek's lyrics. So you see that it's within us. And so what I do is, in my classrooms, I tell my students, first I have them do the community cultural walk. I don't know if anyone's familiar with it, yes, no? And I have them walk the walk. From doing it for so many classes, I'm starting to realize that it's the women who have most of the wealth. Anyway, I have everyone line up and walk, right? And so the question is, do you take public transportation for most of your life, right? For like an extended part of the times, yes. Do you know how to speak another language in your home? Does your family support you? The answer is usually yes, 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 yes. Some students say no, right? And so I said, depending on where you are, that's how much community cultural wealth you have, but that doesn't mean that anything else is a deficit. right? And so if I'm going from an anti-deficit model, I'm gonna highlight the things that you didn't even realize was a plus. I was like, when I'm in my classroom, I'm like, how many of y'all speak a different language or have a dialect in your home? And they're like, how many of you have heard This Is America speak English? And I was like, what's the issue with that comment? I was like, what is the value of speaking another language or having another dialect? You're navigating multiple worlds as opposed to one. You got the wealth. And once you got the wealth, nobody can take it from you. My students are like, oh, okay. And so I'm bigging them up in a way that they weren't aware of or accustomed to. Next slide, please. So this was when COVID was doing COVID, and I had a hybrid classroom, and one of my students, Makita, after everything was happening, I said, you know, I do a check-in, how you doing, how you feeling? And she said, I think I'm okay. And I was like, what you mean you think I'm okay? And she says, I said, I think because I never really thought I'd be in college with a female professor who looks like me talking about this. I usually have to say, I usually have so much to say, but here I always just want to listen, because she saw herself in the work. She never usually sees herself in the work. And so for my students, I'm like, this is about you. I teach critical thinking and the evolutionary expression of racism. I don't play with my students. You come in a room, someone was asking about what do you do or what's allowed. Once that door is closed, you're mine. And we're doing it my way. And yes, I may or may not have gotten complaints, that's on them, but 9 out of 10 times, I'm asked back. So I'm doing something right. Next slide, I think I'm done. That's it, thank you.
Great.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we only have 3 minutes for questions. Q&A. Anybody, questions? You have a question?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. I'm wondering about, just related to many of the panels, but specifically what y'all are bringing, history, comparison, comparative analysis. I'm thinking about fugitive pedagogies a lot right now, particularly in this moment.
Say that again.
Fugitive pedagogy. And I'm wondering about, you know, hip hop as storytelling, hip hop culture as the manifestation and demonstration of culture. And like, door closed, you're mine, right? And I teach online asynchronous. And they get to do whatever they want with my lecture, right? Like in real world. So I don't know, I'm just curious about y'all's thoughts on that.
For me, oh, it is. For me, I'm currently, the thing is that Meek Mill is problematic, right? In between the tweets and the turtlenecks, we can't take this young man seriously, right? But that's a lie. Because what's happening is, one, he's showing, regardless of what we agree or what we don't agree with, he's still showing his true self, right? And what he's showing and what he's reflecting is, one, capitalism is still winning. Two, he's not looking for vindication, he's looking for validation. His traumas are still coming up. And so identifying the social emotional impact of his life for the last, I don't know how old he's like 33 or 30 something, or maybe 36. What we're doing is seeing and exposing, what he's doing is exposing the realities of the world to us. And how do we navigate that, right? And so you're talking about fugitivity. And the thing about it is this, I have another infographic coming out in probably like 2 weeks, where if I said Meek Mill is replicating something of Harriet Tubman, how much of you would believe me and rock with me if I said it? Right? And I was looking at it, and if you look at one of Harriet Tubman's most popular quotes is about dreaming. One of Harriet Tubman's, to save a lot of, during the Underground Railroad, was to sing the song, the Negro Spiritual. If you listen to him, he's talking about freedom in his own way, the way he knows best. This is the way this young man was brought up. And so how do you explain that? You know what I'm saying? And so there's different technologies, there's different teachings that we see and we understand, or we see it or we're not listening to it. I think someone mentioned like how listening is significant to the process. Because I hear a lot. I hear the mumbles and the whispers, but in between that are the truths. But you have to understand what you're looking for. You know, so that's how I'm rocking it.
Can you clarify your question one more time?
Yeah, I'm wondering about like the subversive, right? Like in this climate, and hip hop has always played for the subversive and like the historical truth telling, right? So I don't know.
Got you. Your graph of the last poets that you have up there. I've been working with the last poets for 30 years. Those are my brothers, my mentors. They'll be out tonight for the film screening. Listen to the elders. We have to listen to the elders. We have to engage the elders. The elders have the history, they have the experience, right? Besides the last poet, Sam Greenlee, who wrote The Spook Who Sat by the Door, was a mentor of mine as well. So when I think about those men and women who've poured into me, I know that my purpose is a lot larger than, it's not about me. It's about the work, you know? And then us taking that work and touching other people with it, you know? Again, it's about X-Clan, it's about Public Enemy, about these brothers and sisters too who poured work into me. So we just want to be conscious of that and know that that's a part of a legacy. That subversiveness is a part of, you know, our people have done that work already. All we have to do is tap into it, right? And push it forward. So, yeah, great question.
All right, we got one more question here. We got Paradise.
Cool. I just want to end this by saying that Martha's fronting on us because she's not just a great educator, she's also an extremely good artist, and she has artifacts that she creates with her own hands. And I ask that she tell us about it.
All right.
I gotta make people sign, don't use my name anymore. But I do create quilts, hip hop quilts, using hip hop t-shirts. Yeah. And that's, you know, definitely, yeah, that's my side project. But, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Give it up one more time.